Hey everyone, so I know I've been promising it for a while and I've been really quiet of late. I've been taking a break, working on mental health and a bunch of things that I've had going on in my life I've had to deal with. So I've been taking a bit of a break, but I finally decided to do the APS AK review. So we'll get into that and we'll go over all the pros and cons and what I think of it. I'll give a really short, quick here's what I think if you don't want to watch the video, and then I'll get into the details after that. So first, as you can see, I'm wearing my Vague Strategist shirt. You can get your own down in the link below. So check that out. Usual stuff. Sub, share, like, blah blah blah, all that. So let's get into it. So the APS AK. I have the APS PMC. Now, the really short answer to do I like it, is it good? The answer is yes, I absolutely love it. Is it good? Yes, but there is some issues. So we'll go over those. But I also want to show what you can do externally to the AK, because I hear a lot of people asking a lot of the time, and also we'll just cover its general kind of performance and issues I've had. General review stuff. So, yes, I love it. It's great. It's performed really well. I've had it for about June, since about June, July, around that time. I've ran the absolute shit out of it. I've hit it hard. I've been playing on semi, as I'm sure you've seen in a lot of my footage. I'm playing on full auto, and I've just been running it as hard as I can to see where it will fail. Now, we'll start with the gearbox and where that's failed. Now, the gearbox did start off really well. It ran exceptionally well. It was getting 330 out of the box with the spring that comes with it. Now, this runs M110 APS spring. Now, there is some issues with those springs. They start to lose their power relatively quickly. You can run an M110 in this. I've actually got to put a new M110 into this to do some testing. But I've been running an M90. It was getting 330 consistently out of the box. Now, that was really good. Obviously, not great for some fields, but it was fantastic. The performance was really well. It's running a 45 centimeter, I think it's a 45 centimeter stainless steel barrel. So that's 7.4. I've since replaced that with another one because mine had some issues in it. There was some nasty bits inside, but we'll go over that more in detail in a bit. So, it's a cast box, as you can see here. Comes with blowback, which I have since disabled because hearing that constantly on full auto starts to hurt your ears a bit. The cast gearbox is relatively good. I've actually not had too many issues except for the major one, which was the piston, which comes down to a few things. I noticed when I last played it hardcore, when I did my last video, that it was getting a bit more squealy than it was usually. I was thinking, okay, maybe it needs some grease. I'll pull it apart, re-grease it. It needed more than grease. When I pulled it apart, the left-hand side of the piston, because it's running a half metal, half nylon, the left-hand side of the nylon teeth were gone because the angle of engagement was incorrect. So it was, yeah, they were really worn down. They were about half the height that they should have been. So I replaced that with an SHS full metal ladder piston and used the APS piston head. So that since fixed that issue. There was another issue where it had a shim in it that was bent, which obviously is not a good thing and shouldn't happen. So I cleaned the entire gearbox out of all the shredded nylon and all the dust from playing at Daybro on those really dry days, and I re-shimmed it, I re-greased it, I replaced the piston. It's worked really well since then, if not better, because now it actually has grease in it. It's really good. I've only run 5 mags through it because I played about 2 weeks ago. I didn't play for that long because I had some things and bits and pieces. So it ran really well after I did that. Other than that, the gearbox is relatively good. Maybe in the future I might replace the gears with, say, something like SHS 18-to-1s. Because it looks like I'm not 100% on this. I'm just theorizing whether I'm right or wrong. I don't know. They're not CNC, but they're not shitty cast gears. They're relatively good quality. They're not like powder coated with anything like, you know, your SHS stuff is. They are just gears. They're silver. They look like metal. Yeah, so once I fixed those issues, it started performing better. It sorted out a lot of issues and all that. So, besides the gearbox, let's go over what I'm running in it. So I'm running a 7.4 volt battery in this, which usually I run 11.1 in my M4, which I was doing previously, which is currently on the bench behind you, and it is in not good condition. So this is actually, the good thing about the PMC is it is actually front wired, just like all the other AKs, as well as rear wired, which I find is great because I prefer putting batteries in the buffer tube. Actually got my battery in there at the moment. So 7.4, 1200 milliamp, 25C. It's a Yao, I don't know. Yeah, I'm running the standard plugs on it, which is the Tamiya plugs. So as you can see, silver wiring, rear wired, front wired. It's got a fuse as well, which is a 20 amp fuse. It's relatively easy to dismantle the PMC. We'll get to that in a minute, which is a few of my gripes I have with it. Now, this thing's heavy as well, I need to add. And see, this one specifically is heavier because I've added more onto it. But it is roughly 3 kilos. I think it was like 3.2 or 0.02 kilos when I first got it with the polymer handguards. It is not light. You will get arm fatigue from it. No matter how strong you are, you'll get arm fatigue. It's heavy. So the metal that this is made out of is not the highest of quality. My rear screws, I think 2 of these are actually free spinning. The threading is kind of gone. The metal tends to wear down very quickly whenever they're with the screws. It's not good. I've got some damage up here. The screws are not great quality either. It's something I would like to see improved on, is the quality that this receiver is made out of would be something that would be a drastic improvement. Doesn't need much. It just needs to be a better quality metal that isn't as soft. So other than that, it's good. I've loved it. It's got its issues and bits and pieces, but we'll go over all the things that I've done to it, like turning on my torch. So I'm running a standard dust cover on it. I disabled the blowback because it was loud. You know, that's satisfying, but hearing that constantly when you're firing hurts your ears, even with ear pro. Blowback is a simple thing. There is a little lever. I'm going to say lever. It's a little bit that on the original piston has a cutout, has a, I'm going to say a tooth that comes down and sits inside that piston, and when the piston moves, it moves the blowback unit, which in turn moves the slide. So to disable it, all you got to do is literally undo the 2 screws that are on the slide, and then you just pull that, and you'd have your front half off so you can get it off and everything, but you just pull that little part out, slide out the blowback unit, and that's it. It's disabled now. I didn't notice any real performance gains per se disabling that. It was more for the sake of my hearing. It does wear you down after a while, but it's really immersive and it's nice. So the things I've replaced on this, firstly, we have replaced the pistol grip. I'm now running a US Palm AK pistol grip in black, as you can see, because it's black. I got that from Mad Dog's Armory, or Mad Dog's. Link down below for that. They've got some PTS stuff, really good stuff. I've loved this grip over the other one that came with it. I don't really like the little spaces that they have for your fingers. I find that's quite uncomfortable. It's a fantastic grip. I've really loved it so far. Now, the one thing I keep hearing people asking, can I put a different handguard on my AK? You can. Now, the issue you're going to run into is you'll either have to add material or remove material to get a new handguard on. So, the handguard, this is the 3rd time I've recorded this. I don't have a studio set up, so I will run into issues with background audio, and it's not a fancy setup in here. So, sorry about that. So the handguard itself adds on an extra kilo. I had to remove 0.5 mil off of the lower handguard clamp / lock, whatever you want to call it, that goes on the front of the lower handguard that holds it in place and pulls it back against the receiver. Once I removed that, it's relatively fine. There's a little bit of up-down movement, which I could fix if I added in a little bit of material on the inside. I only need a mil or 2, and that'll fix my issue. As I said, it's heavy. It's 4.2 kilos now in its current configuration. So it's not light, and it's not for the faint of heart. So remember, you will get arm fatigue. Doesn't matter how good you are. So next we'll go on to the muzzle brake and the suppressor. I got the muzzle brake and suppressor off of AliExpress. They're both metal. This is my 14mm adapter for the suppressor, so I can just slip it on, thread it straight onto the muzzle brake. I really like those designs. They work really well, really easy to work with. I had to modify the muzzle brake to fit my hop up inside because it's a 40cm barrel and all that. So I modified that so I could get it sorted out. Other than that, I really love this thing, honestly. There is another issue I completely forgot about till just now, is the safety. Once I pulled the gearbox out, the safety now tends to slip a little bit when going to semi. That can be fixed. It's, you gotta get the grip off, the motor off, and you can pull the gearbox out, and then you can get into it. That's the one thing that's annoying me at the moment. Other than that, it's fantastic. Well worth the money I put into it. It served me really well. The RX mags, honestly, my favorite mags on the market. They are designed incredibly well. They will function so well. I never have misfeeds except for the occasional oversized gel, where you just release that mag, pop the gel out, pop back in, and it'll be feeding perfectly. They hold about 300-ish per mag. So you do get a good chunk of rounds, and if you can bring in the accuracy and the bits and pieces of this, then you will be good to go. I still have some more tuning to do. I had this hitting 40-50 meters. It would hit people in the knees at 50, but I got to do more tuning to fix FPS because I think I have an air seal issue because of the barrel that I put in, which replaced the original one. Other than that, fantastic. I love it, and yeah, well worth it. I will leave a link to the handguard and the muzzle brake and suppressor down below so that you can find them if you do want to run your own. Don't use the original muzzle brake that came with this. I had issues. It actually messed up my threading because it's a 19mm and this is a 14mm. Why we got 19mm attachments for a 14mm with the blaster, I don't know. I got it from Tack Edge, so I don't know. Whoever they sourced it from, yeah, you need to fix that issue. That did cause issues for this. Even with the grub screw, it would secure it, yes, but the damage it causes to the threads wasn't really worth it. That's what happened to me. I don't know about other people. All I did was try to put it on and thread it on, and it was wobbling left and right. Didn't like that. But yes, other than that, I love this thing. It served me really well, and I hope it serves me for a lot longer. So yeah, that is the APS AK review. A lot of talking. AK good. Yes. So, we'll just go to the usual plugs. All the links down below for the parts that I've thrown on this and bits and pieces. You know, sponsors and all that. Patreon helps me, and also Mad Dog's Armory, as well as the print bar, which is where you get a Vague Strategist shirt from. All help me. I get a small cut from Mad Dogs and the print bar whenever you guys purchase something. So if you use code Vague Strategist on Mad Dogs, I will get a small cut and you get a discount. So, you know, a discount's a discount, right? Patreon as well helps me just put some money towards little projects for things that I'm working on to try to work out how to achieve this or this or this, you know, like the 50-meter blaster. Like, I'm working on the V2 at the moment again, but I've run into a lot of issues with that, so I still need to fix it, so that I can push that to as far as I can push it and go from there and learn the things I can and then pass them on to you guys. I hope someday I will get the time and energy to work on the hop-up video. Straight up right now, I'll just say, use an AKA hop-up. I use a long one. Fantastic. Tune it in. I have a guide on tuning hop-ups. I'll do more hop-up stuff in the future, hopefully. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say. So yeah, cheers again, guys, and I'll catch you around. Have a good one.